Hello and welcome to another edition of Personal Health and Fitness. I'm your host, Chad Marshak. Our program today is Body Symmetry Transformation, program number 3, entitled Corrective Exercise, and we're going to focus more on advanced postural exercises and stability. If you've joined us on the previous 2 episodes, we've been talking about how to create a program, a fitness program for an individual who is interested in, say, losing 20 to 30 pounds. And I think that there is a way to go about doing that safely. Most people, they just kind of, when they want to, say, get in shape, they're jumping right into it without really any thought necessarily on, well, how do I go about this safely where I don't get hurt? And I think there's definitely a way to go about doing that. So our feelings here at Body Symmetry is that we wanted to show our viewers how to go about exactly that, doing that in a safe way. And what we've done, we're breaking up say programs, say over the course of 12 actual workout programs where we have 4 individual phases, and this happens to be the phase, the corrective exercise phase, and this is program number 3. So it's an advanced version in terms of addressing any postural issues or instability issues, say, around a joint. And we're sharing information today, and for this program we're going to give you a lot of different things that you could do that's going to prepare you for this next phase, which is the strength phase. So Chase Sainert's going to actually help me with this program today, and we're going to give you exercises. They're going to help warm your body up, and then we're going to show you some corrective exercises that are going to address head to toe. And then we'll finish with some corrective stretches. Okay, so for your warm-up, Chase is going to demonstrate a shuffle just side to side, and we're going to do this for 30 seconds. This is a great exercise to get the hip rotators going. A lot of people have issues related to their hip stabilizers where, say, they run on a generally, or maybe they're riding a bike, or they do a lot of things what's called in the frontal plane, in the sagittal plane, moving forward, pushing things forward, pushing things forward. Well, what happens is that the hip stabilizers become weak and inhibited. So this is a great way to strengthen those muscles in the hip and get them moving, and that's good. That's about 30 seconds. So any type of a lateral movement pattern that you do is called the frontal plane, and again, that's a very good exercise to strengthen the hip stabilizers. You want to make sure you keep those feet pointed straight ahead, keep the hips square, the shoulder square to the direction you're facing. The next exercise we're going to feature here is the medicine ball reverse woodchop. Now, I like this exercise a lot because it helps to lengthen the abdominals, get the hip flexors lengthened too here in the front of the hip, and extend the thoracic spine, the middle portion of your back. Go ahead and stand sideways now. So if you notice here what Chase is doing, he's going to bring his hands over his head and lean back. That's going to lengthen his abdominals, hip flexors, and extend his mid-back, his thoracic spine. A lot of people have issues related to poor range of motion in their mid-back. We lose that range of motion due to a lot of factors: age, gravity, occupation. And this is a way to counteract all of those things by lengthening and extending this middle back portion. The other benefit, again, we talked about how your abdominal muscles lengthen the abdominal muscles. Well, posturally, what happens when we get older, our rib cage kind of starts coming down this way. Our muscles and our abdominal region can get short, become short and stiff. We get stiffness in our rib cage, and that's a good way, again, to counteract that. So better posture. Again, all these exercises today are focused more on advanced posture and enhancing the stabilizers, the stabilizing muscle groups around a joint. The third and final warm-up drill we're going to demonstrate is what's called a dumbbell golf swing. So we're going to pick on that mid-back, and that's typically an area that is in need. And what you're going to do is you're going to take a pair of light dumbbells. And what do I mean by light? Anywhere between 1 to 5 pounds, never over 5 pounds. And Chase is just kind of establishing that good golf posture when you would address a ball. Go ahead and turn to the side. And you're typically going to do this for time, for say 30 seconds, roughly 45 seconds. He's keeping his weight loaded through his hips by driving his heels into the ground. He's got a nice wide base in terms of his stance, position of his feet, and he's just swinging those arms and a golf pattern, a golfer swing pattern. And this is really going to mobilize his thoracic spine, his mid-back, and what's called the frontal plane. It gets a little transverse plane action too, rotation. Awesome. So those are your 3 warm-up drills that you would do for this phase, this program number 3 that we're demonstrating today, that we're sharing with you today. Now we're going to move on to the corrective exercises. So Chase is going to demonstrate both an advanced version and a modified version. And the first exercise we're going to demonstrate is what's called a Bulgarian split stance squat. So you need an elevated surface. You can use a bench, you can use a box, you could even use a chair. Any of those would suit you well. So you want to make sure that when you get in this position, you want a nice length between your feet and the foot that's on the, say, on the bench or the box or the chair. The forward knee should be centered over your ankle. Look straight ahead. You can either keep your hands down at your sides or you can put your hands out in front. Now, he's not even holding an external load. He's not holding a weight. He's not holding a medicine ball or a dumbbell. You don't necessarily need to. Again, if you're a beginner, you want to make sure that your body can do all of these movement patterns safely. So you don't need an external load. You don't need to add any weight at this point. We're really working on strength and stability, working on posture. This exercise is really going to strengthen the hip rotators, the hamstrings, and he's lengthening his hip flexor like crazy. I know he's feeling this big time right now. So you're going to typically perform, say, anywhere between 12 and 15 reps on each side. Let's go ahead and, we don't have to do this one now because I want to make sure we show them the modified version. The modified version of this is a bodyweight overhead squat. So if you're not ready for any type of a split stance exercise, then squats are great. By placing your hands over your head, this is really going to address those postural muscles. So you're going to perform a regular bodyweight squat, but he has his hands over his head. So his mid-back muscles, his paraspinal muscles are really activated. His shoulder stabilizers too, with arms overhead. This is much harder than just hands down at your sides. So, but the previous 2 programs, we've tried to progress with each program, with each show that we've demonstrated for this, this series, this Body Symmetry Transformation series. In terms of reps for this exercise, you're going to perform anywhere between 12 and 15 reps. Good. So we're just demonstrating each exercise. We may not complete all the prescribed reps, but make sure, again, you keep those arms nice and long. If you don't have a good flexibility in your shoulders, it's okay if your arms drift forward slightly, but ideally, you want to get those arms back as far as you can, elbows straight. All right, the next exercise we're going to demonstrate is a dumbbell wall slide. Now, this is a great postural exercise because a lot of people lose what's called scapulohumeral rhythm. This rhythm between your scapula, right here, this chicken wing that some people call it, and your humerus, this long arm bone here. So what he's doing is he's bringing, sliding his arms up the wall. He's flattening his entire backside against the wall. His glutes, his low back, his mid back, his shoulder blades are against the wall, and he's pressing the weight up overhead. And this is really going to help strengthen those lower and middle trapezius muscles and reestablish that rhythm between the scapula and the humerus. So the shoulder works optimally. So you get that full in range of motion. So you can actually get your arm directly up above your head. Most people tend to lose that range of motion over time. This is helping to reestablish that. Now the modified version is obviously the same movement pattern but without any resistance. Typically when you're doing this exercise, you're not going to use, if you're using weight, the more advanced version, you're not going to go over 10 pounds. He was using 3-pound dumbbells, which is perfectly fine for most people. So again, 10 to 12 reps for that exercise. The third exercise we're going to do is a Swiss ball walkout with an alternating leg lift. And this is a more advanced exercise, a more advanced version of the Swiss ball walkout, which is the modified version. So we're going to demonstrate the advanced version first. So stomach on the ball, and you're going to walk your torso out into a push-up position. Your feet are centered over the ball now. Keep your body parallel to the floor, and he's going to alternate lifting 1 foot at a time, holding it for a 3 count. 1, 2, 3, and he's going to shoot for about 5 reps. 1, 2, 3. You want to make sure you really drive up through those shoulders so your shoulder blades don't collapse. 1, 2, 3. Let's give the viewers a different view from the side now. So, side view looks like this. You're going to walk out. Again, this is the dumbbell, or excuse me, the Swiss ball walkout with alternating leg lift. Walk all the way out, alternate lifting each foot. Now the ball's going to want to scoot away from you. It's going to want to slide away from you. So in order to control the Swiss ball, you really need to fire your abdominal muscles and really make sure that you have good stability through your upper body to prevent your body from rotating to the right or to the left. This is a tough exercise, but doable. Now the easier version of is just simply the Swiss ball walkout. So you're going to simply walk out, same position as the more advanced version, hold that for about a 3 count, and then walk yourself back until your groin hits the ball, and then you're going to walk yourself out again. Again, this is the more modified version for this core exercise. Just basic Swiss ball walkout. Shoot for, again, around 5 reps to 8 reps is fine. If you want to extend that length of time where you're holding that plank position for 10 seconds, 15 seconds for each rep, that's acceptable. That's great, Chase. Good. All right, that's our core movement for this first circuit. We have 4 exercises for circuit number 1. And the 4th and final exercise, we're going to demonstrate a burpee with a push-up. That's the more advanced cardio movement. And then just a regular burpee without a push-up or without a jump, just getting down on the ground and standing up. All right, for the more advanced version, you ready? Set. And then jump. So you're going down into a burpee, which is simply kind of getting into a push-up position on the ground. You're going to do a complete push-up, and you're going to stand up, and you're going to jump. All right, let's get that from the side, a couple reps. And this is advanced. This is not for everyone, but this is the 3rd program here. So we want to kind of ramp things up in this, again, the Body Symmetry Transformation series. And you can try that. Now, the more modified approach to doing a burpee is you just kind of get down onto the ground, throw the feet back, and stand up. No jump or anything. It's just plopping yourself down on the ground, throwing the feet back, standing up. Let's get it from the side now. Look how his feet shoot back. He shoots them forward, positions them beneath his hips, dries up through his heels as he stands up completely. That's a more modified burpee. And he's out of breath. Good. And that's the completion of the first circuit. All right, so we're going to get going here in just a second. Again, this series is focusing on getting people ready for physical activity. As I stated at the beginning of the program, a lot of people just jump into an exercise program and really don't prepare their joints properly. Every single joint in the body needs to be stable, and you need to focus on those postural muscles. If you have bad posture, chances are you've got some weak stabilizing muscle groups, say, surrounding the various joints in your body. So this is a safe way, or at least we feel here at Body Symmetry, that there is a safe approach to physical activity. And you need to make sure that you kind of stair-step your way into fitness. And you can certainly do that. And that's what we're sharing with you today. So on to the second circuit. The second circuit is more of a focusing more on the pushing and pulling muscles, the chest muscles and the back muscles that help to pull. So the first exercise we're going to demonstrate is a spider walk. The spider walk is the advanced version, or rather is an advanced exercise here that's going to help work on the chest muscles, the shoulder stabilizers, the core muscles, and a little bit of hip action. So you're going to get in a push-up position on the ground, and you're going to move side to side, your feet and your hands. You want to try to keep your body parallel to the floor. Let's do this from another angle, Chase. So why don't you move, set up over here, move towards the camera. Okay, butt down a little bit. So you're going to move side to side. Really important, as people fatigue, they tend to elevate their hips or drop their hips too low. You want a nice straight line here. No sag here in the lower back. Back to your right. The other thing you want to keep in mind is really driving those hands into the ground, to activate the shoulder stabilizers. The serratus anterior, which helps to control what the scapula does. Really important. So in terms of how many reps, maybe you can only do 5 reps to the right, 5 reps to the left. No problem. Or maybe you want to do it for time, say 45 seconds. Or pick a distance that you can move the same direction to your right and left. No problem doing any of those. But again, form is critical. Make sure that you stop if you can't continue, to maintain that good body alignment, not letting your hips sag. The modified version for this pushing phase is a isometric push-up with alternating arm lift. So the isometric push-up with alternating arm lift, maybe shoot for, say, 6 reps each side. If you want to try 8 to 10, that's fine too. What's important about this one is you want to try to keep your hips as square as possible. So now lift your left arm, Chase. Chase threw in an arm lift, or rather a leg lift too. That's even a more advanced version. But what he's trying to do is stabilize on one arm, fire those abdominal muscles, keep his torso square to the ground, lift the arm towards the ceiling, preferably thumb up, and that's forcing these shoulder stabilizers to really kick in and do their job. Again, most people have issues with not having strong stabilizing muscle groups, the rotator cuff muscles, the scap stabilizers. They typically work more on the big muscles, the primary movers, the deltoid muscles, the medial deltoid, anterior deltoid, posterior deltoid, the show muscles. We're working on the go muscles and the stability muscles. So that's really important during this phase that you keep that in mind, that you're not doing necessarily bodybuilding type movements or powerlifting type movements, which are fine and dandy, but you need to do the exercises before, these postural and stabilizing exercises beforehand and your phase to kind of prepare you for what's to come. Much safer way to go about getting into shape. Next exercise, core movement. We're going to do a tubing stabilization with press, and then we'll do just a tubing stabilization. So the more advanced version, you're going to take exercise tubing, you're going to fix it to something that's stable, and you're going to move away from that fixation point and square your hips and feet, knees, shoulders to the direction you're facing, and you're going to bring your arms back and forth. Chase Sainerd's sweating like a madman. I'm proud of you, Chase. So what you're going to do is you're going to drive those arms back and forth for a set number of reps, say 12 to 15 reps. Really reach out as far as you can to kind of round your upper back. That's going to bring those stabilizing muscle groups into play more so. Challenge the core a little bit more as well. You see he's doing a good job keeping his hips set back slightly, his feet firmly planted on the ground. His head, he's looking straight ahead. A lot of people, their head's really way out here. There's not an exercise that I know of that you really need to jut your head forward. That's going to create problems in your cervical spine. All right, and the more modified version for this core stabilization movement is simply called the tubing stabilization. And you're just going to get in this stable, fixed position. You could even have a partner here hold the tubing at one end if you want, if you don't have anywhere to tie off the tubing. That's acceptable as well. Shoulders are square, hips are square, knees pointed straight ahead, feet about shoulder width, slightly wider, and he's really reaching out as far as he can. If I look here, neither shoulder is elevated higher than the other. So it's really important posturally that you maintain those body positions. Again, hold this for about 30 seconds to 45 seconds each side. Chase, that's good. Very good. All right, next we have a dumbbell calf raise. Go ahead and grab a pair of dumbbells. So Chase is going to demonstrate just a real basic calf raise movement. Go ahead and turn around. Let's get this from the side. Check out this guy's calves. They're like, he's a genetic freak in the calf department. So what he's doing, he's rising up on his toes. He's just holding a pair of dumbbells. Balance and stability required. The ankle stabilizers have to work here. If you're on a machine, the machine provides the stability and the support. Go ahead and turn around, point your feet straight ahead. So he's rising up on his toes. and dropping his heels down. He's keeping his head straight. Hey, what's interesting about Chase, if you notice the difference between his right calf and his left calf. Look how big his right calf is. Look how big his left calf is. Not nearly as developed because Chase had an ACL injury a few years ago, and that's what happens when you have injuries, that oftentimes the muscles atrophy. Not only in his calf, but in his leg, his hip, his hamstring. So that's the important thing to consider, is to go about, when you're exercising, go about working on muscles that help stabilize your body. And because he probably had a weak link, he had an injury, had an ACL tear. So now he's going to the more, a simpler version, just a single leg calf raise where he's holding on for balance. You can hold the dumbbell if you want, or if not, just do this one leg at a time without the weight. And you're just going to point your foot straight ahead, rise up all the way on your toe, and then drop your heel down to the ground. And you'll do this for a set number of reps or a set amount of time. You can do 12 to 15, 20 reps. And or for 30 seconds up to a minute for each calf individually. He's using nice, good posture here. And that's the single leg calf raise. That's more an easier version versus just standing and doing it with both feet. I should have gotten you a towel, bud. Okay, so that's the completion of the second circuit. Now we're going to go ahead and demonstrate some corrective stretches. This is one of my favorite stretches for the body, especially for the spine. It's called the spine opener. And what you're going to do is you're going to actually lie on your back on the ground. That's good. Bring your knees up to about hip, up even with your hips. Your legs should be positioned at a right angle. Your hands are together. You see how his forearms are parallel to his thighs. And then you're going to open this arm. So you're going to bring the top arm back, bring it to the ground. You're going to hold that for about a 3 count to a 5 count. A lot of people, 90% of people can't get into this position, but Chase is a young man who's very fit, and it's not necessarily hard for him. Let's go ahead and change your angles. Matter of fact, why don't your head facing me. Good, and yeah. So now we're going to go from just a different angle so you can kind of get an idea of what he looks like, the position of his legs and his arms. And you want to try to get this arm all the way to the ground. If you notice, just freeze that for a second, Chase. There's a nice straight line in his arms. He's looking up towards the ceiling, not to the right or the left. His head is completely on the ground. That's really important. Maintain that angle with your legs. Most people, what's going to happen, they try this knee, the knees are going to pop up because they don't have the range of motion through their hips or their spine. All right? So if you need a partner to help you hold this down, that's fine. But keep those knees down to the ground, preferably. Okay, that's good. So again, anywhere between 5 to 10 reps. I think I said 5 reps, and that's acceptable. Next exercise we're going to do is what we call palm to sky. Palm to sky is going to help strengthen those rotator cuff muscles, help promote better range of motion in the shoulder capsule. And you're going to lie face down on your stomach. You're going to place the back of your hand on your tailbone. You want to make sure that this shoulder here is not down on the ground. We don't want this. We want to lift the shoulder first. So set the shoulder properly. That's key. Look at this. I got about maybe 4 to 6 inches from the ground. Maintain that position. Then lift the hand towards the ceiling. We use this with a lot of our baseball athletes that we work with, but most people, especially as they get older, lose range of motion in their shoulder capsule. So in order to reestablish that and strengthen the rotator cuff muscles here, this is a great exercise to help do that. So typically you want to lift your hand off your tailbone, hold it for a 1 to 3 count, and then drop it down. You know, you can do 10 reps, 15 reps, 20 reps. We have a lot of our throwing athletes do 2 sets of 20 reps each side. Okay, that's good, Chase. The other thing that you want to keep in mind, for this particular program, you could go through each circuit twice if you want, or once. It doesn't matter. If you have time, you want to run through it twice, then rewatch this episode and give it a shot 2 times through. All right, the next exercise and final exercise we're going to demonstrate is a kneeling quad stretch. So this exercise is going to stretch the quadricep muscles in the front of the thigh. So you want to get in a kneeling position. If you need to hold on to something because you have balance issues, by all means you could do something like hold on to a dowel rod or a chair, something that's not going to move on you. Chase has good balance. So what he's doing, we're going to turn to give you a different view here in a second. He's pulling his foot up towards his butt and stretching the psoas, the hip flexors, as well as the quadricep muscles. Go ahead and turn to the side now. Left foot forward, again, so they get a better view of what's going on. So you want a nice erect posture. Pull that foot up towards the butt, look straight ahead, and focus on lengthening these muscles. You know, ideally, if you can get your heel to your butt, that's awesome, but most people won't be able to. No problem there. The idea here is simply to stretch the quadricep muscles. You want to hold that for about roughly 20 to 45 seconds. And then, obviously, you're going to want to do both sides. Okay, that's good, Chase. All right, so if you have questions about anything we do here at Body Symmetry, definitely give us a call or check out our website at bodysymmetry.com. We post a lot of information on our Facebook page, body_symmetry, so check that out. We also have a Twitter feed that we use quite often. We pump out a lot of different information in terms of how to help you with your health and fitness, a lot of nutritional tips, do's and don'ts, little tidbits of information that will help you become more healthy and fit. Chase, thanks for your help, buddy. Again, thanks again for joining me for another edition of Personal Health and Fitness. Hope to see you again next time. Until then, I'm your host, Chad Marshik. Hey, Quinn and Riley.